Okay, let's talk about what you really need to know about phone photography.
Hey there, I'm Robyn O'Brien, and I'm here to help you capture the real and raw mum life moments and turn them into art that you will love. You're listening to the Raw and Real Mum podcast.
I've said it once and I'll say it again. Photography is not about the tools you have, but how well you know how to use them. So let's talk about the nitty-gritty of phone photography. It's the most common form of photography for people who aren't, should we say, enthusiastic and want to spend a reasonable amount of money on these things. The reality is that you need to understand how photography works. You need to understand the gear that you have. So what I will say is the first thing you should do is, if you are getting into this, is you need to realistically think about what you have. If you are looking at getting a new one, then I would totally recommend you check out the show notes, because we have a breakdown of all the different kind of things that you should consider. The big thing I will say to you is photography is all about learning to draw with light, and therefore you really need to learn about how to find the right light versus manufacturing your own. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that literally you need to be able to look at the light that is quite literally in front of your eyes and be able to say what kind of light it is and how best to use that type of light, or even find it. So like, especially like if you're down the park or something, you'll be able to look at a situation and you'll have backlighting and side lighting, and you'll have harsh light, and you'll have open shade, and there are so many things that you can do with various different types of light, and you have to learn how to use that in order to create the look that you want. It's so important to get that initial thing down. So that's tip number one. Tip number one is find the right light versus creating and trying to edit into your own. If you want something light and airy, then backlight it. It's side light it. There are ways to get that feeling instantly just by way you position yourself with the subject and your main source of light. Okay, it can't get any easier than that. But you've got to know how to do that. It is something you've got to fundamentally just know where's the best place to position yourself to get that feeling. Now, if you're just starting out, then you're probably going to want to check out the light guide that we have in the show notes, and be able to understand the differences between those things. So if you are new to this, don't worry, we've got you covered. But it is the first step. That first step is understanding that light, and how to use that. The second tip that I'm going to share with you today is don't zoom. Okay, it's not your friend. It really isn't. There's basically two types of zoom out there. There's digital zoom and there is optical zoom. Now, if you're blessed with optical zoom, and that's what the lenses out there do for you, and we'll get to accessories later, that's better. Okay, that's better. Digital zoom is quite literally you taking a photograph of something and then blowing it up and then cropping it. That's basically what it does digitally. So it's not your friend. So therefore, the best thing I say to you, will have a much, much, much better quality photo if you use the new zoom known as your feet. Okay. You don't have the ability to do an optical zoom, which is how you do it in a big camera, and therefore quite literally physically take so many steps forward, or just simply get closer to the subject by moving yourself, and you'll notice a distinct improvement when you focus on the subject, to be able to get that super sharpness. Okay, so if you're a bit annoyed with the ability of a zoom, then you have the best zoom ever. It's called your feet. Tip number 3 is manual mode is a must. Now, before you all run away and turn me off and switch off, I don't mean that you have to learn manual mode on a DSLR. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you being a bit of a type A control freak who decides that he or she is going to be able to take control. Okay, you must be able to have a situation and go, I don't like that. I'm going to take control, and I'm going to choose my settings. That's all I mean by manual mode. But being able to manipulate that is a must. What I would say to you is most smartphones you can get it at, even if your native camera won't let you. Okay, so there are ways around that, but it is something you need to learn how to do. Tip number 4 today is going to be get yourself some accessories, okay? Tripod, gimbal, reflector, Bluetooth remote control, especially if you want to do a decent selfie. Quite literally a grey card. It's the cheapest thing out there. It's amazing. Lenses, if you want to dabble down to that, okay? There are so many different ways you can get out there, but you will hit a limitation, just like we hit a limitation with the kit that, you know, your standard kit that you buy. You go, I don't like this, I need to take it to the next level. You buy the next lens. It's exactly the same with the phone, okay? It's no different. They come and go out with more and more lenses. There's a reason for it, because you need it, okay? Don't stress too much about it, but basically just start dabbling in it. But what I'll say to you is, you don't need more gear. Like, you just don't. You either need to learn how to do it. So you don't want to go out and buy a tripod, that's fine. Learn how to hold a steady shot. You don't want a gimbal, that's fine. Learn how to do tracking and panning. You don't want to go out and buy a reflector, that's fine. Use a white piece of paper. You know, you don't need to go out and spend a lot of money on these things, but some things will help your photography tenfold. So they are worth considering if you want to up level. Tip number 5, shooting raw. This is probably my number 1. It really should be at the top, but it's not for a reason, because basically there are different formats out there, and raw is one of those nasty words that people don't seem to fully comprehend, because they think raw, they think massive files, they think all of these fun things, and yes, they will hold more data, yes, they will have bigger files, but they don't have to be scary, okay? DNGs are fine. Even the new HEIFs from the iPhones aren't too bad. I've managed to get some decent edits of a couple of them now. It's about just knowing your format. Know your limitations, know what you can and can't do with it. If you're shooting JPEG, well, it's done the edit for you, so you may as well not bother. That's the whole point of JPEG, it's done it for you. If you're going to shoot raw DNG, great, that's brilliant. You'll get 10 times more out of your edits than you will if you do it in any other format, okay? Again, it's just about knowing what you have and your limitations and how to do that. Again, Lightroom app, perfect for this situation, which leads me into tip number 6. Learn how to edit your photos well. I use well for a reason. Edits are supposed to be subtle, they're supposed to be simple, they're supposed to be unique. There's absolutely no point in 20 people going to the same place, taking the same shot and editing it in the same way. What's amazing is when you see 3 photographers go to the same place, get 4 different shots and edit them with a completely different feeling. That is cool. So learn how to edit. 7 steps to editing is there for a reason. If you have any questions about editing, feel free to hook me up, especially over on Instagram, because I love to answer questions over there. Which leads me to tip number 7. Your work is no good if you don't share it, okay? The worst thing I can ever hear is when people say, yeah, I've got a couple of photos, okay, where are they? They're on my phone and that's it. Okay, have you shared anyone? No. Have you shared them? No. Have you done this? No. Okay, so what's the point? Photography is a form of art. It's creative. It's beautiful. Share it. Don't want to share it on social media? That's fine. I understand people aren't always up to social media. That's fine. You have friends, you have family, you have the ability to print and put it on your wall and then share it with the rest of the family. There are things that you can do that aren't shoving it on Instagram. Though, I like Instagram. So what I will say to you is literally share it, okay? No one will truly understand your point of view, your story, your message, your beautiful family if you don't share them, okay? There are massive implications to your family when you actually bother to share your photos with them. They love it, trust me. My little man, he's a massive, massive photographer in the making, bless him, and he's doing awesome. So if he can do it, so can you. Best way to learn is to get feedback. So if you have any questions or want to know anything in particular, I would more than happily answer any questions. I will be putting a thread up in Instagram for you guys to come and harass me with all of your wonderful questions, so that I might even do a Q&A episode coming up soon with all of my wonderful questions that I'm getting. Okay, so keep going. Photography is something you practice. It's like learning a musical instrument. You get up, you do it, you have fun. You may not master it on day one. That's okay. Enjoy the journey. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in today. If you've enjoyed hanging out with us, I would love for you to subscribe to make sure you don't miss any of those wonderful bonus episodes. And at the end of the day, say hi. Drop a comment, an email, or head over Instagram and let's chat. Talk to you later.